I truly believe that somewhere out there, there are many people like me. Those who always try to be kind, who listen, who yield, who put others first, believing that goodness will earn them love and respect. But one day we suddenly realize, not everyone values kindness. Some see it as weakness. Some are willing to push boundaries, take advantage, without a shred of guilt. Kindness isn't wrong, but kindness without boundaries can leave you hurt. So how do you stay kind while still commanding respect? How do you live kindly without being submissive? That's the question this video will answer. Kind people often choose silence when hurt, choose to yield in arguments, and take on more than they should, just to keep the peace. But ironically, that very silence is mistaken for surrender. That very patience is equated with weakness. People don't see your compassion. They see someone easy to control, easy to manipulate. You help once, they thank you. You help twice, they expect it. You help a third time, they assume it's your duty. And just like that, your kindness becomes an obligation, and your goodness is viewed as a flaw. The world doesn't run on fairness alone. It runs on perception and the boundaries you set for others. When you don't draw the line, you're teaching people that they can step over you anytime. When you don't dare to say no, you're silently saying, "I'm okay being taken advantage of." And the sad truth is, once someone gets used to crossing your limits, it's hard for them to respect you again. Not everyone truly understands why setting boundaries is so important. But if you've ever read the work of Dr. Brené Brown, a leading expert on vulnerability and compassion, you'll come across a powerful truth. The most compassionate people I've ever met also had the most well-defined boundaries. Brown emphasizes that real compassion doesn't come from tolerating everything or enduring endless discomfort. It comes from the courage to say no to what harms you. You cannot keep pouring love into others if you are running empty inside. And if you look at this through the lens of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you'll see that above the need to be loved is the need for self-esteem, to be respected, valued, and acknowledged. In other words, we only feel whole when we know we matter, when we have a voice, and when we're treated with dignity. You can be kind, but you are still a human being with feelings, limits, and the right to be respected. Kindness isn't wrong, but kindness without principles becomes a double-edged sword that cuts you instead.
Being kind doesn't mean you're weak or easily manipulated. It means you're strong enough not to repay cruelty with cruelty. Truly kind people don't act out of fear of being disliked or a need for pity. They choose kindness deliberately, meaningfully, and with integrity. But contrary to what many believe, kindness does not mean always saying yes, always sacrificing, or staying silent even when your heart is breaking. On the contrary, wise kindness means knowing your limits and having the courage to protect them. It means saying no when necessary, without guilt, and not letting kindness become a loophole for others to exploit. 'Cause here's the truth. If you don't speak up, if you don't set limits, no one is obligated to respect you. The real strength in kindness lies in self-control, controlling your emotions, your actions, and your response to injustice. It's a quiet strength, but one that carries great weight. You can be compassionate without being a pushover. You can give without emptying yourself. And most importantly, you define your own kindness, not anyone else. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's the kindest thing you can do for yourself. Smart, kind people understand. No one can keep giving when they're drained inside. They know where to draw the line, what's acceptable, and what must be rejected. And they say no, calmly, clearly, without guilt. They don't over-explain, don't stretch themselves to please others, because they've grown enough to realize it's better to be respected than to be liked. Setting boundaries is how you teach others how to treat you. Every time you stay silent, you give them permission to repeat the same behavior. Every time you speak up, you send a clear message. I'm kind, but I'm not a doormat. Boundaries aren't walls, they're fences. They tell you who belongs in your space and who doesn't. And most importantly, kind people set boundaries not out of anger, but because they value themselves. Because you can only continue giving when you're protected. You can only be powerfully kind when you stop at the right time and preserve your inner freedom. I know, sometimes you choose kindness not because you're weak, but because you understand pain. Because you don't want others to go through what you once did. But it's that deep empathy that often makes you forget. You too deserve the same kindness you give so freely. Kindness without boundaries becomes a vicious cycle of exhaustion and heartbreak. A strong, kind person isn't someone who always endures. It's someone who walks away from where they're not respected, someone who speaks up against wrong without losing their grace. You don't need to be cold or harsh to be respected. You just need to be clear, grounded, and If you found value in what I've shared, please consider subscribing so we can keep going on this journey together. Thank you for staying with me until the end of the video.